3. Good morning, y'all. Mayong buntag. This is Ned over at My Philippine Dreams. 210 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal, coming at you from Dumaguete City, the city of gentle people. Welcome to our weekly live cast. We do this every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. local time here in the Philippines. And as for international time, I try to do like 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights for those on the East Coast of the United States, because that's where I originally am from. We're coming at you live in luxurious 360p due to the slow upload speeds of PLDT in the Philippines. We have the 8 megabit plan, and it's only 0.5 megabit upload. Michelle will be joining us in a short while, a little later on in the program, to respond to a question that was asked by one of our viewers. And but up until then, I'm just going to be going over some things that can affect expatriate life in the Philippines, whether you're living here, you're retiring here, you're thinking about working here, studying here, doing whatever you are doing in the Philippines. We're going to talk 3 subjects this week. We're going to be responding to some viewer questions and addressing some other issues. First off, though, I'd like to address Thomas R. left a comment on our weekly update, our last weekly wrap-up video that we did. And he said, "Hey, Ned, there's 28 days in February, not 26, you moron." Yes, I realize that. I don't know what I was thinking. We lost a couple days. It was a double leap year. I'm not sure what was happening. But just know this, not only am I an expert on everything affecting expats in the Philippines, I am also an expert on time. So again, welcome to our live cast this week in the Philippines. Today is February 29th, 2017, and I believe it's the last day of February. March will start tomorrow. Today's live cast is brought to you by both Tramadol and Sertrazine. Tramadol is also known by Ultram. Sertrazine is also known as Zyrtec. This is for my back pain, my cervical and spine radiculopathy, and this is for an antihistamine. It's basically Zyrtec. These are both government subsidized in the Philippines, and you can get them for 3 pesos each. I buy them by the box of 100. And some people have asked, Ned, you seem to be sick a lot when you're in the Philippines. And I was doing some research, and come to find out, 20% of the people that retire and move to Florida find out they're allergic to mango pollen. And maybe I'm one of those 20% of people, because we got mango trees all around here. And there's certain times of the year where I'm just sneezing and congested all the time, but the Sertrazine helps. So thank you for your sponsorship, Sertrazine and Tramadol. It's much appreciated. Also brought to you by Chasing Your Philippine Dream, an expat guide to the Philippines, which was written by yours truly and 2 other contributing authors. Thank you for that sponsorship as well. Congratulations to Kyle, Nerf, and Matt for knowing the last trivia question on the live cast. It was basically Wayne Cohn, the guy who was in the big plastic ball when he's at concerts. He rolls around in the audience. That's something that he does. So they all got free copies of our book. And also Willie also got it right by saying Akon, who is also in a bubble at times. He's kind of copying Wayne Coyne. Now today's trivia question, and if you get this, the first 3 people to get this trivia question correct will get a free copy of our book. You have to email me at myphilippinedreams@gmail.com, myphilippine, no S, dreams@gmail.com. And it's a pretty simple one. First 3 people to get it right get a free copy of our book. Today's trivia question. The lead guitarist for this American band that came together in the 1970s modeled his look after the entertainer Hunt's Hall. The band still occasionally tours and has 17 studio and 6 live albums together. Again, if you know the answer to that, please give us an email. Shoot us a missive at myphilippinedreams@gmail.com, and we'll get to you as soon as we can. All right. Expat and training wheels up. Okay, he's back. KI4GLX. Yeah, resend that. Just send me another email. I'm and Jane, you ignorant slut. And just send me that. All right. First, I want to get into real quick the latest video I put up, which was how not to interact with Filipinos. There's some people that are taking that as a hit piece that I was attacking the guy. It's a fellow American, Philippine expat. He's not really living here. He just comes and visits. And he had a bit of a meltdown in Ayala Mall trying to find Starbucks. And one of the problems was there was 2 Starbucks in Ayala. So he was getting some different directions and stuff, and he was getting very upset. Basically, I looked at it like a teachable moment. When I watched the video, I was like, oh my God, that's embarrassing. But we all have to realize, whether we want to admit it or not, if you've lived in the Philippines for any amount of time, we've all been there, and we've all been that guy. I know I have. I've done that. I've had my little meltdowns. I didn't catch it on tape. So when we're talking about, interacting with people here as foreigners, this idea of pakikisama, the smooth interpersonal relations, being polite, using the term sir, saying good morning, all that stuff, it's really important, because what's happening is if we don't do that and we start to lose our minds, we stress ourselves out, we get ourselves all upset, we get people around us upset. So it's basically it's a lose-lose scenario, and it's not much fun. So it wasn't a hit piece. It was basically showing us how we sometimes are, and we can all learn something from it, and I thought it was important. I didn't attack him. I didn't specifically name who it was. Some people had some pretty strong comments on it. But again, and if you say you haven't been that guy at some point in the Philippines, you're probably lying. Either that or you lack the personal insight to realize it. So that's the point of that, and that's why I did that. Go into the comments real quick. Tim Kamey says, one day seems like the next in the Philippines. Yeah, it's warm, it's sunny. The weather's been beautiful the last couple months, I'm sorry. And Tim brings up a good point. You have to have something to do here. You have to have a hobby. You have to have a passion. You can't be that guy, being down at red tables in Valencia at 10 o'clock in the morning starting to slam San Miguel's. You got to have something to do. And there's all kinds of things to involve yourself in with here. Scuba diving, snorkeling, mountain biking, photography. It's all kinds of stuff. There's museums. There's all that. Julio Rodriguez, fellow Bostonian, greetings to Boston. All right, let's get to the first article real quick here. The nationwide transportation strike to protest electronic vehicles. A nationwide transportation strike was conducted in Manila this past Monday, the other day. Organized by a coalition of transport groups, the goal of the strike is to stop the government modernization plan to phase out 15-year-old and older public utility jeepneys and replace them with modern and environmentally friendly vehicles. The group in a statement claimed that the jeepney phase-out is cloaked with the words modernization, route rationalization, and other magical language of the Traffic Emergency Power Act being pushed by the Congress. That is, the government wants to update the old decrepitated diesel-belching jeepneys with electronic or low-emission vehicles. The government's response to the drivers' union was, have an open mind, stop saying the wrong information to your members. We are only seeking to level up the type of jeepneys we have on the road. They're also looking for, they said, ways to help drivers in buying new electronic jeeps. The jeepneys are here to stay. The government will fight for it. This is the government spokesman. The question is, what kind of jeep? That's what the government is working on, a safe, dependable, and reliable jeepney. So basically, change is coming. If you've been to Manila or if you've been to any urban area in the Philippines and you've seen these jeepneys and diesel trucks belching fumes all the time, lowering the quality of life here, you'll understand the reason behind this. They've already started to introduce electronic buses, electronic jeeps, and that type of thing. You see all kinds of battery-operated vehicles alone here in Dumaguete. Bud Brown's got one. Also, there's a guy here, Kim. Shout out to Kim. I got to text him back. He's got a unicycle, which is this little one-wheeled battery-powered conveyance device. It's got a range of 10 miles. It costs $400 USD. and it's pretty badass, although he was wearing full protective gear. So change is coming. This is something that has to be done. They don't like change here, though. They like the way things are. They like God bless our way. But this is something that has to be done. The problem is it's going to affect jobs, because with these bigger, larger, e-buses and stuff, they require less employees. For example, Dumaguete, they have the trike drivers union. One of the biggest problems with traffic congestion in Dumaguete is all the trikes. But if they try to phase in buses, the trike guys are going to go nuts. They tried to do that actually a while back, and it didn't end well because some people got kind of violent about it. Because each trike that you see in Dumaguete is 2 or 3 jobs. So it provides a lot of employment for people. So change is coming. Let's go to the comments real quick. Hal Petty says, your Frank video caught a PV rant response, Ned. Congratulations. Oh, thank you. It's good to have my genius acknowledged. Earl, good morning from Massachusetts. Is it starting to warm up there? Steve Cadman asks, Ned, do you still take anti-malarial meds daily? I have never taken anti-malarial medications. If I stay here long enough, I'm probably going to end up getting malaria or dengue, because there's mosquitoes all over the place. The chances are you're going to get some. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why you didn't get that, man. Just send me another email. I'll send it to you. Hang Lee, greetings from near Quincy. Quincy's got a Filipino store. They got a Filipino store, and that's like buy-on boxes out of there. Okay, moving on. Philippines police, and this is a sad story, yet again. Philippines police appeal to public not to spread beheading video. The Philippine National Police, the PNP, appealed to the public on Tuesday not to spread online the video showing Abu Sayyaf bandits beheading German Jürgen Gustav Kantner. As we mourn the loss of Mr. Kantner, we earnestly appeal to netizens, internet subscribers, and mobile phone users to please refrain from propagating the video clip of Mr. Kantner's murder, the police asked. They went on to say he rightfully deserves human dignity even in such gruesome death, while his family and friends deserve respect in this time of grief, he added. The bandits had earlier threatened to behead the German national on the afternoon of February 26 if they were not paid a 30 million peso ransom. The bandits kidnapped Mr. Kantner in November while his yacht was cruising in waters off Sulu and southern Philippines. The bandits also killed his companion, 56-year-old Sabine Mertz. Kantner and Mertz were also held captive in Somalia in 2008 for 52 days and were reportedly released after paying a 6-figure ransom. There's a couple things going on here. Yeah, you don't want to go cruising in a yacht in Sulu Sea down the southern Philippines. It's not the best place. Or in Somalia. So this was the second time this gentleman got kidnapped. They beheaded him, and again, it's not with a big axe or a big, sword or something. It's gruesome. They released the video footage, and of course, people are interested in that. So it's been going around, and the police are saying, please don't show that. Also, one of the things you'll notice, at least in Dumaguete and in Cebu, they have these Facebook pages, these unofficial news of Dumaguete. And a lot of times when there's accidents or when there's someone shot, they'll show the graphic footage of the victim lying on the ground with his head exploded. Most recently in Dumaguete, it was a woman. She was riding pinion on the back of a motorcycle. She went down and the bus ran over her head, and they had photos of that up on Hulagawai until enough people said, hey, you got to take that down. You don't even know if the next of kin have been notified yet. So this is something that you generally don't experience in the West, the possibility of getting kidnapped based on the color of your skin and the hopes of monetary gain. And it seems like we're offline, but we'll continue on anyways. The last. Thomas, good morning from Brisbane, Australia. It's afternoon here, 12:15 p.m. Getty G4 says, how do you get antibiotics without a prescription? Yes, according to Philippines law, you're supposed to have a prescription for certain medications. Antibiotics, one of them. Trying to cut down, on the number of people taking antibiotics because the bacteria become resistant to the antibiotics. But if you shop around, money talks, and there's always some pharmacy that will basically let you buy them without a prescription. Yeah, KI4GLX says 2 times he has been kidnapped. Come on, you're doing something wrong. I'm not going to get into like blaming the victim or anything, but yeah, that's putting yourself in that situation twice. Cruising around right off the coast of Somalia, which was one of the most active pirate areas in the world. You're white, you're going to be targeted, you stick out. You got to be careful. Christopher Cote says he's referring to Senator De Lima being arrested. I believe she was arrested. Are Pinoys behind Duterte on this? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I try not to get involved in the local politics because you don't know who to trust and what's actually going on. I don't understand the intricacies of Filipino culture. So I try not to get involved. All I know is that the latest reported body count on the war on drugs is at 7,700 Filipinos have been killed in the war on drugs. And again, the sad part is the families that are being affected, the sons, the daughters, the mothers, the fathers, the brothers, the sisters that are being impacted by this. All right, so we'll get back to our final, and then I got to bring in Michelle because somebody has a question for Michelle. The final happening this week, actually it was about a week and a half ago. It was a Fastcraft and a barge crashed in Cebu, injuring 49. This is out of Manila, at least, but this happened in Cebu. It actually happened in the Mactan Channel. They were entering the Mactan Channel. At least 49 people were injured after a to-go passenger Fastcraft crashed into a barge in Mactan, the Philippine Coast Guard said on Sunday. The MV Brachial of to-go hit the San Miguel Corp-owned barge. So it was owned by the barge was sitting still, and the to-go Fastcraft was flying along. I believe it was at full throttle. Rammed into the San Miguel beer barge. I'm just assuming beer was on it. Along the Mactan Channel around 10 p.m. on Saturday night, February 18th. So this happened at night. Usually they slow down as they're entering the channel. The Fastcraft was heading to Pier 4 when it hit the barge that was being pulled to the Mactan Channel. The Coast Guard said, we cannot establish yet if it was a collision, since if it was a collision, it means the two vessels were moving when the incident happened. Passengers of the Fastcraft were transferred to another ship at Pier 4. I don't think both boats have to be moving. I think if you run into something, that's a collision, right? I'm not sure. I have to check my English on that. 4 of the injured passengers were taken to the nearest hospital, while the others were treated right at the pier. The Coast Guard station in Cebu was still investigating as of this writing. There was some talk that the captain had fallen asleep or something. We're not really sure. Also, when you're entering, a channel, you're supposed to have other people on the bridge and lookouts and all that. Our people from the Coast Guard station in Cebu will also talk to the captains of the Fastcraft and the barge to get more information. Unfortunately, in the Philippines, boats hitting each other or boats crashing into land or boats simply turning over is a problem. There's been some horrible catastrophes in the Philippines with boats going down, ferries going down, loaded with Filipinos. They have life vests and all that stuff, and they have the inflatable boats, the big rubber boats. But unfortunately, a lot of times these things happen so quickly that people aren't available to get to them. So it was 49 people. Those Fastcraft, they go very quick. I'd say about 20 to 30 knots they're moving along at. And you can actually, they had some photos up of the results, and they showed some photos of the interior of the Fastcraft. And it's actually, the seats are set up like an airline. It's like being on an airplane. You sit in these, rows of seats with the armrests and all that stuff. And the impact was so strong that it literally ripped rows of seats out of where they were bolted into the floor, into the deck, I should say. And some people were horribly, horribly injured. A lot of people lost teeth in the face injuries because they were impacting the seats in front of them when the collision occurred. So, those are 3 things that can affect us as expatriates in the Philippines. We talked about the nationwide strike. I know on Monday it affected a lot of people. They closed schools, they shut down a bunch of businesses, and a lot of people were stranded. But this is something that has to be addressed. You know, this is progress. You got to take advantage of these things to cut down on fuel costs and also to cut down on the emissions and the pollution in the major urban areas, because the air quality there, in my experience, unless it's a very windy day, it's going to be pretty nasty. And I know a lot of people that go to Manila, and they're not there that long, and they usually come down with some sort of respiratory sickness. And again, that's anecdotal. So if you live in Manila or Cebu or Davao or somewhere, don't get upset. Don't take it personally. I'm not talking down to you. That's just my experience. We talked about the Fastcraft barge impact collision, and we also talked about the most unfortunate recent beheading by Abu Sayyaf. Now, Abu Sayyaf claims to be a political organization trying to get their own independent state down in southern Mindanao. But in my opinion, this is just, and I've said this before, whenever you see people getting kidnapped, it's basically a criminal behavior for monetary gain. And some of these governments will pay, unfortunately. And what it does is it just encourages. So a lot of times when you see the ransoms coming in, it's usually family members and stuff that are putting the money together, and then the person gets out of there so that they don't come down with it again. All right, back to the comments. I don't know. It says we're offline. Mr. Micketman says, Ned, have you heard of a child between 1 and 2 years old was kidnapped in CDO yesterday or today? I have not heard anything about that. Matt Cat says, Ned, how is the sciatica? I've had several injections in my spine as well. Sucks for sure. Yeah, I got to go back for another one. And I also got cervical radiculopathy now from my C5. It looks like I got some problems there. It's a rough life, man. Living in the streets. Dog eat dog world. Getting beat up. Yeah, Tim Cammy says, your video went down. It's going to happen. Our internet here is pretty bad. It's saying offline right now, but it's still basically going up. Landhawk59 says, guess that would be problem number 3 for Expat, finding good internet. That is so true. That is so true. I want to try. Sky Cable's got that 50 megabit download, 5 megabit upload package for like 2,800, but I'm not sure how well that will work. All right, so now I'm going to drag Michelle in here. Hopefully we'll be back up when this occurs. Our life cam, it says we're offline, it says all of the comments went down. Alright, I still believe this is recording, so I'm going to drag Michelle in and have her answer this one question that we got. Hey, she's here. Yeah, I don't even know if we're online, so... But we had one question for you. Okay. And it's Darren asks, he has a question for Michelle. Michelle, what was it like when you first met... I don't know. What was it like when you first met Ned in person?
You looked scary. I mean, he's really big and really small, and he kind of scared me. Yeah, you scared me a bit. And you look like Mr. Clean.
I look like Mr. Clean. I had my freshly shaved head. It was glittering in the tropical sunshine.
Yeah.
And then, so that's all you thought, I was just really big and
Yeah, I was
really
you're
bald.
so pale.
I was so pale when I first got here. I was so pale. Now I'm a constant pink or red, so I'm not really pale anymore. I don't really tan up. I used to tan up when I was a kid, but I don't tan up anymore. All right. Well, thanks for answering that. Michelle's working.
Yes.
That's why she wasn't on the live cast. And she's actually training those two other Filipinos they were training yesterday.
Yes.
And their training seemed to involve a lot of laughter and eating ice cream. But one of the things Michelle said, she was like, after she trained them all day, showing them how to do the job, she was like, I wish I had somebody like that could have supervised me and shown me how to do it. You could have asked questions of. Because it's kind of complicated what she's doing, and it's also very repetitive, and it takes some skill. So it's a bit rough. All right.
Really. All right. What else?
Getty G4 says, is that satellite internet? Don't do it. I was actually looking up satellite internet last night because the internet here is so bad. SpaceX is going to be putting up a constellation of low altitude satellites. There's going to be like 2,000 of them or something. It's going to be crapload, 4,000, something like that, which is going to provide worldwide internet. This isn't probably going to happen until like after 2020. They're just starting to put it together now, and they're going to be launching some test vehicles. But there's already satellite internet. The download speeds and the upload speeds aren't too bad, but the latency is like 600 milliseconds on them because they're so high up in the sky. They're like 20,000 kilometers or something. But the low altitude system that SpaceX is contemplating putting up is going to have a lot lower latency, about 32 milliseconds, which is a lot better than what we have. All right, so that's basically it. It looks like our internet's crapped out. Thanks to everybody for putting up with our shitty internet and for watching the live stream. Again, don't forget the trivia question. Don't forget the trivia question because you get a free copy of our ebook, which is a $10.95 value. But if you get the free book, you can't ask for the refund. There's no guarantee if you've got the free book. So this is Neb.
And this is Michelle.
And thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.